We must not lose sight of the state and the true state of our nation. We must stop listening to unhinged criminals talking about a false state of an economy that we all know we are not existing in. These are unhinged criminals. You listen to our so-called president the other day, and you wonder whether he's living in some paradise of his own, separate to the one we are living. Some of us are traversing this country, and the pain just keeps continuing. We are at a precipice of total economic collapse, a precipice of oblivion as a nation, because a major criminality was done to us. And many of us still don't seem to get it. It's good to hear the young man, Nganga. He gets it. I was so impressed by the outrage of the younger generation who stood as modern-day liberators, modern-day freedom fighters last year, got up for something called tax justice. Many Kenyans did not even know what a finance bill is. They got up and they said enough is enough. And you imagine they succeeded in making sure that each and every one of us do not pay more taxes. They were successful at a very high cost. They were gunned down simply because they wanted to walk into parliament. I mean, parliament is our house. What is wrong with walking into parliament? Even if we banned parliament, so you will build another one tomorrow, but you won't get a life back. What is wrong with these people? It's like we are being governed or ruled or so whatever it is by people who have not understood their terms of reference. You are there, if you just read the Constitution, as a privilege to serve Kenyans, to serve, not to mow them down. But look how far we've come as a nation, that we have kids who get up there and they say enough is enough. You are not going to steal our future anymore. And the tax bill and tax justice was brought to us to a large extent. And now we should not forget this issue. It is about our economic lives, our economic well-being, the stolen future of our generations that are here and those to come. Because something very serious happened. And we need to understand that all of us in this country that calls themselves Kenyans are now slaves to that something. That something started in March 2014, when criminals purporting to be our representatives went to parliament, a bill sponsored and taken by Aden Duale as majority leader, seconded by Bandi, the current Minister of Finance. He was then minority leader, seconded this bill. A bill approved and sanctioned by a cabinet of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. A bill taken to that cabinet through the Ministry of Finance with the concurrence of the Attorney General, where they sought to create the biggest criminality we've ever seen. And it simply went like this. Article 206 of the Constitution, because our Constitution is so good. I can tell you chapter 12, if anybody wants to understand our financial laws, it is in chapter 12 of our Constitution. And they are what are called controls. It said, Article 206, that all revenues of the government must be deposited in the consolidated fund. That is a fund premised at Central Bank of Kenya. It's called Exchequer Account Number 1. Now, it gave only two exceptions. One, A, they called it, is if there is a fund that is created outside, such as the housing fund that we have, Petroleum Development Fund, that money does not have to go to the consolidated fund. And B, any appropriations in it. In other words, if there is a parastatal that makes profits, and so on, it can bank elsewhere. Those are the only two exceptions in the Constitution of Kenya. That was copy-pasted in the Public Finance Management Act. And under Section 17, that is how it read. Section 17 of the 2012 Public Finance Management Act, it read the same way as the Constitution. But in March 2014, Duale brings a bill to amend Section 17 of the Public Finance Management Act to add C and D. The Constitution, Public Finance 2012, had A and B, the two exceptions I've said, but now he goes to Parliament to amend Public Finance Management Act Section 17 and add C and D. And C and D are to do with the loans to be taken by the government, that they do not have to come to central bank. They can fly all over the world. It can even go to a contractor. It can go to a freight person. It can go to whatever entity. It is very broad in its description. But it does not have to enter the Republic of Kenya. It does not have to enter our central bank. The illegality is that you cannot change the Constitution of Kenya through statute law, inferior law. You cannot. The Constitution is supreme. So what should have happened is that you go and you get 2/3 of Parliament to amend 206 of the Constitution. And once you amend it, then you impart it in Public Finance Management Act. And they knew that. But they knew if they do that, it would raise concern. Why are you amending the Constitution this early in your regime? And everyone would refuse, because you're advertising that you're saying money does not have to come to central bank. Now, the key thing about money coming to the consolidated fund is that that is where we have oversight. And oversight goes like this. First and foremost, the controller of budget has oversight on any withdrawals from the consolidated fund. That is the law. So any withdrawal, any exchequer issue, if you're paying for anything, that is mainly, she only authorizes what is in the budget. She must approve the exit of any money from the consolidated fund. And it must align with the budget that has been passed by Parliament. Number two, and this is critical, the Auditor General also can only audit accounts in the consolidated fund. Any other place they cannot audit. They have no sight of. So it was also to make sure that they have no sight of what is happening with the debt. So let's go to debt, because C and D amendments were to do with debt. So let us go to the debt. So from independent Kenya, 40 years until Mwai Kibaki left uongozi wa Kenya in 2013, we had a total of 1.8 trillion in our total debt of 40 years. Total debt of 40 years, 1.8 trillion. Please note, I'm saying 40 years. From 2013, call it 2014, because that was Uhuru's first budget, to 2022, can roughly say 8 years. Our debt moved from 1.8 trillion to roughly 9.4 trillion. Because by the time he was handing over, it was 9.4. You can say the end of the financial year, June, it was 8.7, but he still had a budget. So you can say either 8.7 or 9.4. The sum total means this, that in just a period of 8 years, our debt had increased by another 7 trillion. Uhuru borrowed 7 trillion shillings in 8 years, whereas we as a country for 40 years only had a cumulative of 1.8 trillion.